Hey guys, what's up? So today we're going to do a story time. Haven't done one of those in a very long time. I think it's probably been almost 2 years since my last story time. But today we're going to talk a little bit about me buying and picking up 45 because I know that's something that a lot of you have wanted to see me do. So I've got my notes written down on this card here, so that's what I'll be looking at, just to make sure I don't leave anything out. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to mention is that 45 was in active service up until the 1920 school year. When schools shut down for COVID, it still was technically in service because it had an up-to-date inspection sticker and it was being used as a spare. But I believe the out-of-service sticker said it was June was when they actually pulled it from service. I know the bus has some rust, and that's probably the biggest thing that made it fail inspection. But I know a big contender with 45's retirement was its overall age. I kind of think that if they would have wanted to put the work into it, like if the bus would have been 10 years younger, they probably would have put the work into it. But since it was a 26-year-old bus at the time, they didn't want to put the work into it. So they just took it out of service. When I had my visit to the garage in October of 2020, 45 was in the back with 44, and of course 26 had been back there for a few years already. The thing that kind of disappointed me was the fact that they sprayed over the lettering on the Waynes. I know why they did it, just to cover up the school name and all that kind of stuff, but to me that was kind of annoying. And at that time, I didn't think I was going to get this bus. I had no plans of buying 45 at that point in time. But I thought, wow, that's kind of disappointing to see that because I had seen those buses when they were all in service and were in good shape. So anyways, I took some pictures of 45 then, didn't really think much of it. I didn't know when exactly they were going to sell them. But I remember being told at that time that they were going to try to sell about 9 buses at some point in the future. So, fast forward to December, and I actually found out about 45's auction from somebody making a comment on my videos. So, that's how I found it all out. So I went and got on Public Surplus to look just to see what buses had been listed, and I knew 26, 44, and 45 were listed, so I knew I wanted to try to get one of them, but I didn't actually think it was going to happen. So this auction had 9 buses in it. You had 25, 26, 35, 41, 44, 45, 61, 62, and 76. So you had 9 buses that were sold, and of the 9 buses, I'm not sure about 41, because I know 41 was removed from service at the same time as 44, 45, and 36. So it may have been possible that 41 was in a condition that it could have been brought back to life. But I do remember when I got on 41, the driver's seat was missing, and I'm sure there were other things missing. So out of the buses, I know 41 was a bus of mine that I had. And at that time, I thought, okay, 36 is still there. They didn't list 36. I could buy 36 later. And I thought, okay, well, I want to try to get one of the Waynes. But out of that 9 buses, I would say maybe 3 of them were in the shape that they probably could be reworked and usable again. Most of the other ones had been used for parts at that point. But moving on, I knew 26 had been parked at the end of 2017, so it had been used as parts to keep the other 2 Waynes going. 44 and 45 were obviously the 2 choices I had for Waynes, and I decided to bid on 45 mainly because I rode 45 a few times, and I rode 44 as well, but 45, I don't know, there was just some kind of significance to it, so I decided to go for that one. 45 also ended up actually having its light monitor still, 44 did not. But from the pictures in the auction and from what I knew of the buses, 45 seemed to be the best choice. 44, I mean, it had more stuff, more ceiling panels taken down than 45 for some reason. And those could have been put back up. That wasn't really the reason why I didn't go with 44. But the reason I didn't go with 44 was just because it from the pictures, it just didn't seem like it was the better bus of the two. Looking back, I probably would have had enough to buy both of them, but I probably only got one for a reason. Adam actually had the highest bid on 44 for a short while. He almost won it, but he didn't get it. I think 44 went for like $700. So, it could have been something, but it wasn't. And at least I've got this one. That's what I always think. But moving on to the actual auction day. So that day was a Wednesday. I remember it very well. I had stayed home from work, like I got my shift picked up. I didn't call off. I had stayed home from work so I could be there and be able to observe the auction and bid in real time and not have to like leave a bid and then go work and do all that stuff. So that's what I did. And I believe that morning the bid for 45 was maybe, I don't even think it had reached $400. It may have reached like just over 400, but I can't remember. So I thought, okay, I was feeling pretty good at it. I was feeling pretty good about it. I think the auction ended like 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. So, I was ready all day to bid on the bus. Coming down to the last 30 minutes, I was getting ready, and the thing with public surplus is if you bid within the last 5 minutes of the auction, it auto extends. So you kind of have to put your bid in the last 10 minutes and just hope you don't get outbid, because if you get outbid, then you're going to have to outbid them, and then like with 66, I got into a outbid war for like 5 minutes. But anyways, so I put in my bid, I think it was about 8 minutes, which turned out to be the good choice because right after I put in my bid, the website crashed. And I kind of think it was because a lot of people were watching the auctions. So the website crashed, and basically the page goes white and you can't refresh it and it won't show you anything, and it says that there's an error. This is what happened with 2 when I was trying to bid on 2. So the first time it happened, it kind of screwed me. The second time it happened, it helped me. And so I put in my final bid, and I'll make note that my proxy bid was $681.50. If you know, you know. So I didn't know where it was going to go. Like, I knew when I hit it, like, it took, I'm pretty sure that it took it up from wherever it was at to my final price, which was $455. So once I hit in the bid and I was the highest bidder, I had maybe a minute of being able to see that before it went blank. And then for probably 10-15 minutes after, like, I assumed I had won. And I'm pretty sure Public Surplus notified me I had won. But I couldn't do anything because the page was blank and it wouldn't refresh. I think it took about 30 minutes to get it back to where I could actually go and pay for it. Because I did pay for it that same day, obviously. So that was pretty much how the bidding process went with it. I just remember being very excited. Like, I couldn't believe I actually got my hands on one of the Waynes. I know, I have 3. But to get my hands on one of the 95s that still was in running condition, like, it was a big deal. And it's still a big deal. And the overall, just the chances that this auction had, like the amount I got it for, and the page going blank on me at the end, that pretty much allowed me to get it for as cheap as I did. That really, it's just so, like, it's 1 in a million. I don't think it's going to happen again. So I'm really happy that it happened with this bus. So moving on to the pickup aspect of this story, I had wanted to pick it up the Friday after I had won the auction. So I won the auction on a Wednesday, and I wanted to pick it up on the Friday. I was unable to pick it up that Friday due to some behind the scenes issues that I'm not going to really discuss on camera. But lo and behold, it pretty much put me from those issues. It held me from being able to pick the bus up until my absolute last day of actually being able to pick the bus up, because it was about to be Christmas break. So, like I said, I'm not going to get into that on here, but it was a frustrating situation with that all around. But what matters is that I did pay for the bus and I was able to pick it up. But that whole week leading up to the pickup, I had to work. So, like, I couldn't get an earlier day to pick it up other than Friday, because I had already given up one shift for this and I didn't want to give up another one. So, I ended up having to wait till that following Friday, which was the 17th. And that day was it was interesting. So, I got up, did everything I needed to do. I went and picked up my dad because he was going to go with me. I had opted to just have the bus towed so that way we could get it off the lot and not worry about any issues arising. I had been told at the time of pickup that it should be fine as long as you put new batteries in it, and it should start up and it'll be fine. You can drive it out of here. But I had arranged a tow truck just to make sure that I got the bus off of the school's property that day, because I didn't want to deal with any of that. So, we basically had to go to the tow company, get the truck. The truck was out on a call. So then we had to wait for the truck, and we went to the school. I picked up the title, picked up the records, and, basically after that we went back to the towing company, and the towing company said, we can't get it this moment, but we can go and get it and bring it to you in about an hour and a half. So at that point, we called the bus garage, let them know that a tow truck was going to come get the bus within about an hour. And we left the towing company and we went to the storage lot so that way we could prepare, everything, like we could rent the unit to put the bus in and we could get all that stuff set up. So that was pretty fun. About the time we finished that, we probably sat in my van for 10 minutes before the tow truck came in and, brought the bus. And I'll put in the video that I put in the, first video I did of the bus, of the tow truck bringing it in, so you can see it.
Got it.
But anyways, it got brought in, it got dropped, and the thing that interested me the most was when the tow truck driver said, yeah, that bus started right up. Which, it blew a little bit of white smoke, he had said, but it started right up. And I was surprised, because the bus had been sitting for about 6 months at that point. So for it to start up and run, I was surprised. He had also told me that it wasn't building air pressure. So that was the one thing that kind of I didn't expect. And that's the thing about buying a school bus. You kind of have to expect the unexpected because you never know what's going to happen. That's why I wanted it to be towed here so I didn't have to deal with any issues. So I would later find out that it was because somebody took a safety valve off the air dryer. But anyways, so that was the one kind of like, oh, well, I can't drive the bus right now. It's got to, it can't build air pressure. And I didn't know what the problem was, so that's where we were at that point in time. The other thing that really amazed me about 45 when I first got it was the fact that it had 3/4 a tank of fuel in it, so it almost had, I mean, it had over half a tank, 3/4, so it was almost full. And then also the tires on it, especially the rear. I think the rear tires were brand new, honestly, because I mean, the amount of tread they had and still kind of have. I mean, they had to have been new tires. So I got pretty lucky with that because the tires alone were worth what I paid for it. So all in all, like the whole situation with this bus just worked really well for me. Like like I said, it's a 1 in a million shot that I could bid on and win and pay that good of a price for this particular bus, because it's to the point where you're not finding Waynes in Ohio in active service anymore. I think there might be one or two, maybe three left, and most of them have been sold years ago, and have been scrapped or converted or sitting somewhere, rotting in a junkyard or something. So to find one in, school service condition and to be able to, preserve it, it's really a big deal to me, and I still to this day feel so lucky that I was able to do it and that it was able to even happen. So that's pretty much the story of 45. The one last thing I didn't mention, I think I mentioned that my winning bid was $455. My purchase price was $500.50 because, taxes and fees get added to your final cost. So, all in all, very reasonable price for this bus. I feel like it's definitely worth more than $500.50. So like I said, I'm just still can't get over how good of a deal I got on this bus. So that's pretty much it for this story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I put a few other options on there for other story times. I might do those others as well. But I wanted to do this one first because everybody seemed to want to watch this or hear this or see it. So, yeah. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. And, yeah.